Movies Fight Club! Welcome to the Books vs. Movies Fight Club. I'm your snake daddy, your cheeseburger princess, your shitposter supreme, Matt Keck. Alongside me, it's the light of my life,
Paul, taking a bite out of Crime Shields.
That's right, and we are here with a brand new idea, brand new podcast. See, Polly and I, we both like to read, and we need to read more than we do, as we all do. And he comes to me with a great idea. All these movies are coming out. They're based on books. There's so many.
We also love movies.
We do. You know it. You know we love the movies.
Mm-hmm.
You've seen the Christmas movie podcast, returning for season 2 soon. You've seen the Groundhog's Day movie podcast. And you've just heard us talk about movies all over the Bottom Boys cast.
Yep.
So why would we not come here and combine our love of books and movies and put them to the test and see which is better, the book or the movie? Whew, let me tell you, we chose a good one for this first book.
It's Halloween.
It's Halloween time, spooky season. This is probably coming out like on Halloween,
okay.
And we watched first Salem's Lot.
Yes.
So it was a movie back in the 1970s, I think 79. They did a mini series or something in 2000.
It was for TV. It was for It was a TV movie.
It was a TV movie
which they
before.
would back in those days.
So it was like a part
them.
1, part 2, right?
Yeah, like 1 week they would do like an hour, 2 hours of the movie or whatever. Then the next week they would finish it up.
Yeah.
Type of thing.
I love that.
They did that with Stephen King. They also did that with It.
Okay.
They also did It.
The original one with what's his face?
With John Ritter was in it.
Oh, yeah.
I think, if I remember correctly. I might be wrong on that. It's been so long since I watched it, but I think John Ritter was in it.
I love that. His son's getting big on TikTok right now. I don't know if you've seen that.
Oh, yeah?
People have been asking him to do like his faces.
Right?
Yeah, he's doing a lot of different stuff right now, actually. Yeah. So they did a new version of this. Salem's Lot hasn't had its proper due yet, like a lot of Stephen King things have, and a lot of things of his have been coming back. They redid It. They did the 2 big It's. That was pretty great. They redid Pet Sematary.
Actually, I liked it.
I did too. John Lithgow, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. And they've been redoing a lot of his classic ones. They redid Carrie.
I didn't watch the. I
didn't watch the remake either. But this was another one in the line of remakes, and there's been some really good ones. I also hadn't read this book. Now, what's your deal with Stephen King and books? You a Stephen King fan?
Yeah, I love Stephen King.
I knew you
love
did.
Stephen King. I've read tons and tons of Stephen King
almost
books.
any time I read a Stephen King book, you've usually read it at some point.
And my first, because I think the Salem's Lot, which I had read it a long time ago.
Yeah.
And I pretty much forgot about it. But I think it's his second book.
Like, total, right?
The second one that was published.
Yeah.
The second published book. The first one was Carrie.
Right.
Which, Carrie was the first book that I ever, read all the way through.
Yeah.
In one...
That's awesome.
In one day. That's the first book
I've
ever
sat down and read all the way through.
I don't even know if I've read any since then any more than that.
Yeah, I don't do that very often.
Yeah. I mean, Carrie wasn't that long of a book, but it was still
that's
memorable because of that.
That means it got you hooked.
Yeah. So, and I think that's why I read Salem's Lot after that. Yeah, but
Do you prefer his horror stuff or his more sci-fi fantasy stuff?
You know what? I like his... Because he's gone away from his really doing the horror.
He really
stuff.
hasn't done much.
And it was kind of fun to go back old school horror.
Yeah.
Reading a book that was like his early second one out. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, wow, I can see the stuff that's changed and the stuff that's,
absolutely
still the same tropes that he uses.
Oh yeah, his there's
Yeah.
always, like we've said, talking about him before. There's always a writer in there that you're pretty sure is probably representing him being in there. Especially since these writers always have different substance abuse problems or metaphors for substance abuse problems shining. So yeah, there's a lot of those Stephen King tropes. I like Stephen King a lot. Some of his books I love. I think I've not read the full Dark Tower series yet, but I think of what I've read of that is probably my favorite stuff he's done. I like how he kind of weaves worlds together, and so I'm going to be a little contradictory a little bit when I complain about Salem's Lot, because I know some of the characters he describes end up weaving into stories of his later.
Yeah.
But I will complain about them a little later about how they didn't really matter too much to this book, but we'll get into that before that.
And I think there's a lot of them that do that, but I don't ever. I mean, I forget them.
Yeah, sure.
Because it's...
And I think a lot of people do. But I like it, like, I don't know. On my end, like, when I start making stuff, I like to do that, too, where I like to try and make everything connect in little ways. And so it's like, I don't know, I appreciate it whether I notice it or not. And so, like... just looking up some of the stuff. Yeah.
The whole continuity thing that he has in there.
I just kind of appreciate that he's just got this whole world in his head. But before we get going, what we're going to do here is we're going to talk about the book, the movie, and kind of discuss how well the movie did the book, and then kind of rank it from there. So I've got the synopsis of this book right here. And so I'm going to read the quick synopsis. I don't think I want to spoil the ending yet, so I won't go all the way through it. But Ben Mears, a writer, returns to Jerusalem's Lot, Maine. Jerusalem's Lot, Maine.
And not to interrupt you
No, you're good.
But I read back on some the Wikipedia or whatever and stuff, and he originally, I guess he wanted to call it the Second Coming.
Okay.
But then his wife told him to call it Jerusalem's Lot.
Uh-huh.
But then the publisher came in and shortened it to Salem's Lot.
But they just kept the name in the book?
Yeah, but he had it in there. But it was in the book. Yeah, but they shortened it to Salem's Lot, which, when I was little, when I say little, I was little when I
you
read
probably
this
would have
book.
been little when you read this book.
It got me so confused. And I think this is one of the deals where I think the writer was so much more, the publisher was more correct than the...
Yeah, he should have just called it Salem's Lot.
Right.
It's a better name. It's shorter,
when
it's quicker.
When you see Salem's Lot, you think, what do you think? You think...
Witches.
Witch trials.
Yep.
That's what you think. Even though this is not, Yeah.
It's not witches, but it still brings you straight to horror. Right. It's a horror name. Salem's Lot is a horror name.
And it's not even, it's not even the same, it's not even Salem, Massachusetts.
Right. Yeah. We're in Maine, but still. It goes straight to horror.
Gets that in your head.
I agree. Publisher was right. Yeah. So after 25 years, he goes back to Jerusalem's Lot, Maine, to write his next novel. When he gets there, he becomes friends with the high school teacher, Matt Burke. He starts dating a woman named Susan Norton. She's a young college graduate with ambitions of leaving town, as they always have. Ben returned to the lot to write a book about the Marston house, long abandoned. He had a bad childhood experience there. When he went into the house, he saw a ghost hanging itself. So he learns that this house, which is the former home of a Depression-era hitman named Hubie Marston.
Oh, Hubie.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Hubie. It sounds threatening. Hubie Halloween. I wonder if that's where he got that.
I think probably it has to be. I would assume.
Yeah, that's a pretty specific name. And so he purchased this old house from hitman Hubie Marston. It's been purchased by Kurt Barlow. He's an Austrian immigrant.
Think if you got a hit, if you were a hitman and you got hitted by a guy named Hubie. Oh, that would be so horrible.
Hubie the love bug or some
shit.
Even
if you survived, you couldn't even tell your buddies that you were
it's like, what happened?
Survived the hitman
almost got me. Which one? Oh, Hubie.
Hubie.
Come on.
They'd make fun of you.
Yeah, it sounds like a toddler. That's what you call a toddler. It sounds like an overweight duck in a diaper. Baby Hubie.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, no, I'm
synopsis.
with you. No. So Hubie's house, it's been purchased by old Kurt Barlow. He's an Austrian immigrant. He showed up to the lot to open an antique furniture store. Barlow is supposedly on an extended buying trip, but his business partner, Richard Bram Stroker, is publicly seen. The truth, however, is that Barlow is an ancient vampire.
Dun, dun, dun.
And Straker is his human familiar, so Straker's his bitch, and Barlow's the vampire, and they come in, antique store. Their arrival coincides with Ralphie Glick disappearing and dying, 12-year-old boy. Danny, who becomes the town's first vampire, turned by Barlow. Barlow also turns town dump custodian Dud Rogers, telephone repairman Corey Bryant, and other locals into vampires, including graveyard digger Mike Ryerson, a newborn baby, Randy McDougal, a man named Jack Griffin, and Danny's mother, Marjorie. Danny fails to turn his classmate Mark Petrie, who resists him by holding a plastic cross in Danny's face. I didn't know the plastic ones worked, but I'm glad to know that they do.
Yeah, even
feel
tongue
like-
depressor apparently worked in this too.
Yeah.
And I would like to say
Maybe just a T. Any T.
the crappiest part of this while you're reading this, just because you mentioned it, and I didn't write anything down about it or whatever, is the baby vampire.
Right.
That is the suckiest part. That baby was beat on by his mom in the thing, and then
It's horrible.
the next thing is he's a vampire. Nothing but bad stuff to that baby.
And if Anne Rice has taught me anything, you're stuck at the age you were turned into a vampire forever. So this is just a baby forever.
Yeah.
Never going to learn to talk. Just always going to be thirsty, blood-sucking titties for the rest of eternity. That's a bummer.
Yeah.
Stephen King's fucked up.
Yeah.
Just so y'all know, he's fucked up. Especially when you read these books. There's some shit. Don't read it.
Oh, yeah. 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 They left out some scenes in it.
Thank fucking God. Oh, right. And then he turned Danny's mother's Marjorie. Failed to turn Mark Petrie. Plastic cross in Danny's face. To fight the spread of new vampires, Ben and Susan are joined by Matt Burke and his doctor, Jimmy Cody, along with Mark and the local priest, Father Callahan. Susan gets captured by Barlow, who turns her, and then eventually she gets staked through the heart by Ben. And then it goes into who turns when and what. I just gave you one spoiler. I won't keep reading who turns when, but let's just say the father, the doctor, all these people get together. They fight against the vampires, and then at the end they go absolutely insane with an ending that is 100% approved by the Arson Club, and we will talk about that a little later. But the movie, quite a bit different.
Well,
I feel like.
Well, before you get into the
yeah.
book, can we talk about the book
Let's
a little
talk
before we hit that
yes,
movie?
Let's go.
Because there's some
pure book.
Yeah, but what you had said is the synopsis in the book. It started out. There was a preface.
Yes.
Where it had they just said the tall man and a boy,
Yes.
and they're in Mexico.
Yes.
And then they get newspapers that that Jerusalem's lot has been found, and it's deserted.
Yes.
And they found nothing, and with meals had been cooked and left on tables and things like that.
It was like a Left Behind situation.
Right. And then they take off something like we got to go back or something. They take off towards there. You're not supposed to know what it is, but you do.
Right.
I mean, as you're reading, you realize, it's easy to realize. Stephen King does a whole thing where he foreshadows a lot.
Yeah.
And which I don't mind.
No, I don't mind either.
I like it.
Because sometimes he can use that against you, too. He can foreshadow something that doesn't actually end up happening also.
Right.
Which
yeah.
is his clever way of doing things.
Like in this, there's a bunch of in the book.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of foreshadowing that like people immediately
just go away or like
no well when I say a bunch he puts out a bunch of stuff and people because he does this in all his books.
Yeah.
People jump to a conclusion and it's automatically correct, like a conclusion that's like
way out
like I wrote some of them down for this book. Like they have these guys bringing in this. It's supposed to be. It's a casket, right? But they don't know that. They think it's some furniture.
Oh yeah, they
hired these guys to bring the furniture, put in the cellar of the Marston house, which is the old house.
And so they're both scared to do it.
Yeah, they're scared going in there, and they go into the house, and then the one guy, and he's like, "Holy shit, what is it? What did you see?" And he's like, "It was a shirt." What? It was a shirt, and that was the scary part of that. And then it scares the shit out of him because he saw a shirt, and then he came back, and he's like, "That shirt is. It's the shirt. I bet it's the shirt of the missing kid." How do you jump to the conclusion that shirt's the shirt of the missing kid?
That's
what's
insane.
Just in a cellar?
Yeah, no, that doesn't make any sense.
I'm pretty sure if I had a cellar, there may be an old shirt down there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but he's correct.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I wrote some other things that he calls the teacher automatically.
Matt Burke, yeah.
Yeah. At this part when I was reading it, because he goes in here, he brings a guy home, right, who's drunk at the deal, and he's passing out, so he's like wants to take care of him or whatever. But he says he puts him to bed, and then there's here's an open window and some other things, and it's like. And then all of a sudden, he is scared shitless and knows that it's a vampire. There has been no mention of vampires.
He just immediately figures it out.
But he immediately knows that this is a vampire. He's a teacher. He's a learned man and believes that this is a vampire enough that he goes into a heart attack.
Yeah.
That's
has a
how
heart
much
attack.
he believes that this guy is a vampire. It's like quick and easy. Oh, here's one that I like. Susan Dad.
Yeah.
Who is the main girl?
Susan's the one that he gets in a relationship with.
Because okay, there's a lot of stuff also in his books that happen immediately.
Yes.
This book in particular had a lot of things that happened immediately.
Yeah.
Like he went into town and immediately saw a girl in the park that was reading one of his books. And that is the love of his life.
Yep.
Immediately. And I've known it, and through the entire story, I think it's a total of maybe a week. Maybe.
And so I think what you're seeing behind that writing is that early Stephen King, the cocaine addict, famously, is showing you that to him at that age, love was simply feeding his own ego. He's showing you that through his writing.
I get it. I like that.
He sees someone reading his book, and so but he does like the challenge too, because she doesn't particularly like his book either. But she knows that he's important, and he likes someone who knows he's important. But you can tell he likes a challenge.
Oh, yeah.
So I think you
like
can kind of read
take.
Stephen's mind when you see how his writer characters in particular
I like that.
happen in these books.
It just seemed a lot of it was quick.
I agree.
Quick about that.
I agree. It's funny because it's his horror stuff. It's very classic slasher almost, where it's like, okay, we need everyone to do everything incredibly fast to establish these super strong relationships so that we're supposed to care because we're all about to die,
But this was a long book.
Oh, very.
Yeah. So in doing that, I mean, didn't have to set that up, and he's really good.
That's true, because he took a lot of time setting up the town and all the people.
He made the town his own character.
Right.
Even there was one chapter where he described the phone lines, right?
Yes.
The telephone lines, and he cut, and then he he wrote where the scene where the women were talking,
Mm-hmm.
and just gossiping or whatever.
Yeah.
He did this. You see this down by the whatever they did gossip. Then he'd go to the phone lines again and describe the phone lines,
Yeah.
which is amazing. Just how small town it is, and it's like the phone lines stuff going down.
Drove me crazy. It did. It drove me crazy. But I appreciate what he was trying to do. Let me put it that way. I do appreciate what he was trying to do, but man, that beginning of that book, I was like, what are we doing?
Which was because it's not like normal Stephen King's I read.
Right.
Usually Stephen King will give you, like in the first chapter, boom, there is something
super hooky.
Something happens where
You're like,
Mr.
whoa.
Mercedes, you're just a normal people at a some kind of get together, and all of a sudden it's just normal. Everything's a normal town. Then all of a sudden, boom, a car runs through and murders an entire
and you're like,
deal people.
whoa.
And that's right out the gate.
Yeah.
You're hooked and you want to know what's going on. This book didn't
was a
really
slow burn.
have that.
It was definitely a slow burn.
Yeah, it took a while to get to it.
Now I do like once it gets into it, I do like the book quite a bit. But man, it was a slog to get through that beginning for me.
I like this part too. This little conclusion that I wrote down. Susan's dad, he knows Ben's a local boy because he cuts his hot dogs down the middle.
Yeah.
That seems to be a...
Is that like a... Is that a thing like in Maine?
I don't know.
I
cut my hot dog down the middle, sure.
Do you?
I've left it in the microwave a little too long and
And
split open
down the middle.
sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I feel like maybe a Polish sausage, something a little thicker that you might want that bulge, but I don't know. Cutting a hot dog down the middle.
But the biggest one,
I love that.
the biggest jump, not that those weren't big jumps, was the
jump to conclusion.
he has Barlow, who is
the guy at the furniture thing.
Barlow
he's
is
the
the
vampire. Yeah, that's the vampire.
Did you notice anything about him? And Mark was like, yeah, he had chalk on his fingers. And then they determined that it was from a pool table because they play pool with chalk.
Yep.
And that also the house that Ben is staying at, the boarding house that Ben's staying at, has a pool table in the cellar that's just set up,
ready to be played.
Yeah, they are saying. I guess these, just like Twilight, I guess vampires. They gotta do some kind of extracurricular
what are you doing when you
type of thing.
What are you doing when you're not drinking
play
blood?
baseball?
Yeah, you gotta play baseball, play some pool. Man,
Shoot
that baseball
some pool
scene
by yourself.
I love that baseball scene.
Just shooting some pool down there. I just picture Dracula shooting some billiards down the cellar.
I scratched again. Oh no! I accidentally hit in a stripe. I am colors.
Oh, I did mention. I want to mention one more thing about it before we move on to the movie because
I love this.
There was one of the things that Barlow says.
Yes.
I can't remember if he had wrote it in his note that he wrote to him or if he actually says this. No, I think he says this. He says that he's and I said I'm saying this to you specifically because it stood out to me because he says he's not the serpent. But the father of the serpent. And I thought you would like that as the sneaky snake.
I'm a fan. As the father of all serpents, I'm a fan of my guy Barlow pulling the snakes.
Yeah. But which I already knew that because I read some Lovecraft stuff that's a Lovecraft reference.
Right.
I didn't remember that guy's name, but I knew that there's father of serpents, but his name is Yig. That's the name of the father of the serpents.
Oh, Yig.
It's
been a while since I've read Lovecraft.
I just want to bring that out because it's because of your snakiness.
Yig, father of serpents. Book pretty good. I'm a fan.
You're a fan of the monk?
It took me a while to get won over by it. It was a slow burn, but overall, I'm a fan of the book.
I'm going to tell you, as far as Stephen King's book goes, this is
not one of his best.
No. It's mid.
Yeah.
Mid.
Yeah, I think
mainly
that's fair.
because it took so long. I was able, like I said, I carry all the way through.
Yeah.
It kept me engulfed.
Yeah, it had you
Read
hooked.
it through.
Yep, pulled you through.
In one setting. And this, no, it took me.
Yeah.
I had to force myself to keep reading
Same.
it.
Yeah,
and
if
it got
we
to be
if
there.
we weren't doing this, I don't know that I would have finished.
It would have been
That's
one of
fair.
those books, which I have tons of,
where it's halfway through.
I just set it down and don't get back to it.
Yeah, totally.
I think about going back to it, but I don't get back to it. And there's certain parts in this that I don't know if I caught while reading it or not. Like I wrote these questions down. Why? Maybe you can answer it.
I'll try.
Okay. Why did the bully? Because there was a bully that attacked Mark, right?
Yeah.
And then he went with his brother into the woods.
Yes.
Why did he go with his brother into his woods to get to Mark's house? Because he was the bully guy.
Yeah.
Was he trying to... I don't know why he did, and I think it was so he could make fun of him some more.
I mean, I guess.
But then again, while they were in the woods, his brother was talking like he had met Mark before because he'd mentioned him having those action figures of all those monsters and stuff.
Right. I don't remember why they
were
walking. Why he went with him.
I reread it. I did it 4 or 5 times and tried to figure out why he was walking the woods with his brother, because number one, his brother has nothing to do with anything except, I think he had to take his brother because his parents made him.
Right.
But why had they already met him? This was a guy that he had bullied and had made him look like a fool.
Yeah.
And he was looking to get back at him, I think. Is that what you took from that?
I mean, I guess so. That's what I was thinking when I was reading it, but like
it was the bully, right?
That was the bully in the woods.
Yeah,
so that had to have been the reason, was that he was trying to get revenge.
Right. But why would they have been to his house already and seen the action figures? That's a part that they left off, kind of.
Maybe, yeah. That is confusing.
The other confusing part that I wasn't quite sure, I didn't quite get, but I think, is the preacher.
Father Callahan.
The priest, he just skipped town?
At the end, I think so.
Right?
Yeah, I think he does. I think he just
showed
bails.
Him skipping town?
Yep.
Okay. I wanted to make sure, because I thought that's what happened.
I'm pretty sure he bails, because I'm pretty sure he's in some other stuff, too, right?
Oh, maybe.
I'm not positive. I'm not positive, but I think he might show up in something
that's a good
else.
Deal if he comes back in another deal. Okay, so, you know what?
But yeah, I'm pretty sure he does skip town.
How are we ranking these? The books. Put a ranking system on these.
That's true. We need to like.
Would I recommend this to, if you were to come to me and ask me to recommend this book to someone? I would. This would not be the first Stephen King book that I would recommend. This would not be the second Stephen King book I would recommend. This would not be the 4th, 5th, or 6th Stephen King.
I don't know that I would
recommend.
I don't know that I would ever recommend this book. If someone asked me if they should read this book, I would say you don't need to, but if you're interested, it's pretty good.
If you were to ask me about books about vampires, would you recommend this book?
No, I don't think this is the one I would recommend.
Well, definitely you're going to recommend Dracula.
Obviously.
Bram Stoker's, but I don't know.
I've liked some Anne Rice stuff I've read.
Yeah, you got those on your review?
I don't recommend the Twilight books. I apologize to the people who love them.
Yeah, so it falls down there.
Them.
So it's, I don't, yeah, this is, I feel like this is down on my list as far as.
I'm with you.
As liking it. So with that being said.
Yeah.
I think that leaves it a little easier for the movie.
No doubt.
To hit.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
Right?
It should be.
For the movie to win in this fight.
Yeah, it should be able to beat it.
And usually...
Because it shouldn't. It doesn't have as much time. The book took its time. The book was kind of slow. The book was a little all over the place at times. Had a few things that made you go, what? How did you make that jump? The movie's, a little less than 2 hours. You have to condense it down.
Okay, yeah.
You can't waste all that.
Oh,
time.
yeah. It's the reason why so many
So it just-
movies are made off of graphic novels,
Right,
because they're so
you don't-
shorter.
Yep,
They have the whole
fits
they have the whole
concept
thing
better.
lined out for you already.
It's basically a storyboard.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. They have it all laid. It's shorter, easier. You got dialogue there. So much easier to get it into there. That's why Stephen King's best movies that he's had
Green
moved
Mile.
into
Short story stuff.
are the short stories.
Shawshank.
Short stories. The Body, the Stand By Me.
Yeah,
which
yeah.
was a deal off the Body.
Yep, Green Mile.
Green Mile is a long one. That
was it longer?
Yeah, it's a big.
Oh, I don't know
bigger
why I
book.
thought that was one of his
Yeah.
shorter ones.
Yeah,
Hmm.
but
But still.
it's also a longer movie. They
it
did
is.
it. Yeah, we're not doing
Yeah,
Green
we're-
Mile, so I don't want to
totally.
get too off.
We
but
might
yeah.
get there eventually. So it should have been pretty easy. All they had to do was kind of trim it down.
Yeah.
Put in the exciting parts.
Yeah.
And instead they decided to just do a bunch of stuff that didn't really happen. A lot of stuff at the drive-in.
They did a lot of. Okay, so where I mentioned the guy at the is that a prologue to the book?
Yes, yeah.
Where the guy is with the kid in the deal, foreshadowing stuff that's happening. They didn't mention. They didn't go.
It just starts
with that.
right with Ben Mears driving into town.
Which the old movie from the TV show actually did do that.
Right.
Which has Fred Willard in it.
Oh, yeah. I need to watch that again. I almost rewatched it before this, too.
Which I will say follows the movie a lot more.
Which follows the book.
It follows the book a lot more than this movie did.
Yeah, yeah.
There is. He doesn't. The first thing I noticed is that Mark, who is the kid, right?
Yes.
Which the Man in Black, which is not a big deal
No, not at all.
at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Totally.
But in the book, you see Mark as this kid. He keeps to himself.
Right.
He doesn't start trouble or anything like that. But then the bully comes up to him and starts fight, but then he like dodges out this way and
Yeah.
that, and makes the bully
Makes him-
look like a fool.
It does like the Peter Parker, Flash Thompson
Right.
thing.
Makes the bully look like a fool. So he's but he doesn't make a big deal of it.
Right.
And that was part of the bully,
Right.
right? And then the bully in the book then takes that as getting mad.
Yeah.
And now I've got to get back at him
Yep.
to get my self back into
Right.
where I was.
Pecking order.
Right. Also, he wasn't like super brave kid or anything like that. In fact, he was kind of the opposite.
Yeah, he was an
And then
introvert.
he's very introverted. But they made this kid like super,
Like the hero.
Yeah,
He's a Stranger Things kid, basically.
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
And,
Yeah.
And that's not what he should have been.
right.
I feel like this movie had to have been in the can for a while because Homeboy from The Boys, Homelander's son,
Oh yeah,
he's really young.
that's not him.
That's not him.
No, Laura thought that was
wow.
Homelander's son too, and I was like, it looks like him. But I looked up, and was like, nope, not Homelander's son.
Oh,
He just
wow.
looks like
It
because I
looks
was
so
like,
much
how
like
could
him.
that
I
be?
was like, he
Because
looks
he's
so young.
older right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
But no,
okay.
it's not. He just looks like
That
him.
dude looks exactly
Because I
so
did
much
double
like
check.
him. Yeah, that's
I
crazy.
double checked, and then
So then maybe not had been in the can that long.
but then that's why. But with that fact, in the book, the bully then goes through, like I had discussed, took his brother
Right,
into
into the
woods,
woods.
right, and then they end up being the first that you know of something happening to them.
Yeah.
And that, but in the movie, they made it his friend.
Yeah, Ralphie.
Ralphie, his friend, being the first ones that goes into which Ralphie is in the book is the bully's brother.
Mm-hmm.
But they made it like his friend in this
Uh-huh.
one, and they go into the woods. Not
Yep.
Yeah. And I said that, which that made a big difference to me in that, number one, how he feels about
Right.
one is your friend now that's going to be haunting you as a vampire.
Yeah, that's different.
Right, as opposed to this bully kid who's
Right.
haunting you as a
Right.
vampire.
It's not as monstrous. It's
and I don't know which is worse, but
yeah, I mean, in the end, you would think maybe the friend is a little worse because you
Yeah.
have to turn.
yeah. So that part, I might give that to him as being a better turn of the deal.
Sure.
Okay, and I said that was the first thing, but I forgot, and I should have wrote this down. But the very first thing that I noticed that's different than the book is they immediately tell you this is a vampire right out the get-go.
Yeah,
they show you the bad guy. They literally show you they even show you early on the Barlow's face, and he's a freaking.
Oh, he takes the kid back to the house, and like you see the whole like white Nosferatu vibe.
And in the book,
that's not
you don't see him.
Yeah,
and they keep it secret. They don't even come out and say it's a vampire.
That's how I prefer my vampires. Vampires are supposed to be mysterious,
right? They turn this into a
it's
slasher
voyeurism.
movie.
Yeah,
they turned it into a slasher movie.
They made it like 30 Days a Night style vampire almost. Like,
yeah, I guess so. I don't think he didn't even talk.
Yeah.
This vampire didn't even talk, but. Like I said, this one said, "I'm not the serpent. I'm the father of the serpent." That's what this freaking vampire that's in the book said.
Yeah.
He wrote him a letter, told him how he was like, "I left you a present in the basement.
Yeah.
Go see what that is." Oh yeah, by the way, that's present in the basement is this woman you're in love with that's now a freaking vampire that you have to kill.
Oops.
That's why he's down there.
Yeah, that's twisted.
Yeah.
That's the shit.
Yeah, that's the first, and you still don't see him.
No.
You just see a letter. That's just a letter from him.
So good.
Yeah, it's the lead up. It's the build up. You don't get the.
It's maniacal. It gets in your head.
It's like the Psycho, where they show you.
You don't know that about the mom.
No,
yeah.
You don't know the mom, and they don't show you them getting stabbed, but it's
better.
Better.
Yeah.
You think she got stabbed. You think you saw her get stabbed,
but you don't know.
But you didn't. You think this guy's better. Yeah. They took that whole part of it out of there. I think it makes it. I think it was a mistake, and it made it way.
It makes
less...
it feel ham-fisted. It feels like it's just beating you over the head with themes instead of just letting you like experience them. Yeah, it just became. To me, it feels like it's written like a teen movie a little bit, but it's not necessarily acted or shot like a teen show or teen movie. But like, it feels like they were trying really hard to young it up. Really hard to like simplify things.
Yeah, I think they were trying to shove shit in there.
Yeah.
And it didn't. Oh man, when Alfred Woodard showed up as the doctor.
Oh yeah.
And started doing her, I was like, gosh, dang it. Alfred Woodard's too good a freaking actress for this damn movie.
She is a really good actress.
Yeah, and you could tell in her scenes where she was freaking.
The main guy
took it.
The guy who played Ben Mears is going to be Sentry in the Thunderbolts.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I was like, what is he from?
Okay.
Yeah, that's what he's going to be doing.
Okay. Yeah. They have... I didn't...
The acting was all fine, I guess. Father Callahan guy's a pretty okay actor, too, but, like, I don't know.
The one... the guy that played the teacher was... He's that guy that is in. He's that one character actor that's in all those movies. Great actor.
Yeah, he is great.
He's such a great actor, and he just I can't ever remember his name.
Me either.
But
he is one of the good ones.
You recognize him.
You
right
will
off the bat.
immediately.
Yeah, he didn't deserve that movie either.
Yeah,
that movie didn't deserve him.
A lot of the cast was better than the movie. But it's so funny because you're talking about the jumps, the leaps, and stuff in the book. The movie, he does that too. He's just like, I mean, I hate to say this, but immediately. It's a creature of the night. And it's like, oh, right. We all accept that. You're right. It's totally that. None of us are skeptical in the slightest. It is vampires. Let's make a plan. And it's like, what the fuck? All right. If I can't convince people of something that's true. in real life. Like, I can't be like, oh man, I just carried in a 50-pound rock, and everyone would say, no, you fucking didn't. That's not true. This guy says vampires, and everyone in his life is supportive.
And they had, yeah, even in the book, at least the one guy believed it 100%, and the people he told, the 3 people he told, easily believed it.
Yeah.
But other than that, they were not about it.
Yeah.
Everybody else was like, okay, whatever. But in the book, they made a big thing about making the town itself a character.
Right.
Because that
was the whole slow burn.
The book's named after.
Right. It's named after the town. Right.
So they made it a character. They showed all the things that happened up till then. They talked about the weird things,
the relationships in town, who's running what stores, like it's all of it.
Right, and it made you. I mean, I've lived in small towns, most of my life,
and it feels very Gilmore Girls to some extent, where it's like you know how it functions now. You get the hierarchy, like
right, and how this could be. I mean, because that's one of the big. When I said they didn't have a big thing in the beginning about showing to get you caught in the story at the beginning, they did have the deal where they read the newspaper and the newspaper said the entire town was gone.
Right.
And which makes you think, well, what the hell happened to this town? Why is this entire town gone or whatever? They did not put that kind of feel into the movie. You didn't think about the town in the movie. No. They barely showed the rest of the town in the movie.
Yeah, you really didn't get a vibe for the town at all.
No.
I mean, and literally, like, a lot of the main parts, again, got put out of town. They did this whole drive-in scenario that, like, took things out of the town.
Yeah, they did a whole, and in the ending, well, okay, one of the scariest and most tenseful times, and Stephen King's really good at this in writing, is, and my favorite parts of the book was when they had Mark, where the one guy had tied Mark up.
Yeah.
In the I think he was upside down even, hanging by his feet in the room, and he tied him up, and he went through the whole deal of describing how he got out of his arms and stuff, and pulled himself out, and then he didn't know what to do, and he grabbed the leg off of something, and the other guy came up and he hid behind the door when it came in, and then when he came in, he like whacked him, but they didn't do the trick, so you had to whack him again a couple times to do whatever. Just describing that was all, because it was very tense when I was reading it. I was like, oh shit,
you could feel the struggle.
Right. But in the movie, they had him tied up, then all of a sudden you see him untied, because they said because earlier he'd been practicing his
escaping the magic tricks. Yep.
So the next thing you knew, we see him untied, and he whacks the guy with the
one strike.
Yeah, and
easy peasy.
He comes through, barreling through like a hero. No damage to him. I mean, in the book, the kid freaking had to cut almost his hands off to get
this dude,
through this.
Whoever made this version of this movie is a fucking Superman fan. That's what I'm figuring out. He took all the struggle out of it. There's no problems. Yeah, all the people still end up becoming vampires and stuff, but your kid just, all the struggle. Oh, I'm out. Oh, knocked him over. Oh, here's the guy. Oh, stabbed him through the face. Now, if you don't want ending spoilers, go ahead and shut this off. We're gonna go ahead and talk into the endings too. Now in the book, in the ending, they get out of town, Ben and
well, they go into in the ending of the book, they find him at the pool table, underneath the deal, and they end up stabbing him. They kill.
Yes.
They kill him, I think, right? They kill Barlow with the deal and stab him and leave him there for dead.
Yes.
Right? And then they take off, and go to Mexico.
Yes, that's where they go. They go to Mexico.
They drive to Mexico.
Yep.
From Maine or Maryland or
Yep.
they drive to Mexico and they leave them there, and then that's when they get to the beginning where they come back.
Yep.
Where they heard that everybody's gone, and they decide
they're gonna set a brush fire.
They're gonna the only way to end this thing,
burn down
the whole town.
Now, Paul led the first D&D campaign, well, the second D&D campaign that I played long term. And in that, it was Curse of Strahd. And the first time I ran into vampires in a home, my immediate reaction was to burn the place to the ground. And I am glad that me and Stephen King are on the same page. Burn that fucker to the ground. Yep. That's always the move. They do not do this in the movie, though. No, that is not how it goes. You do see what was it? Was he in a mobile home, or what was he in where the vampire ripped through the ceiling, right? And then the spike goes through the back of his head, like through the mouth. Well, it looked cool.
They foreshadow. Here's what the deal is. I said this to Laura when I was watching the movie.
Yeah.
They come driving in. They're like, and then they plow right into a sign.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why the hell did they plow into that sign?
Why'd you do that?
And then I found out why they plowed into that sign, so they could take that sign and shove it through because they could show it being shoved through the big bad at the end.
Yeah.
Barlow at the end of the deal.
Yeah.
As they go into this all took place at this drive-in
theater.
Drive-in theater.
Yeah.
They get to this drive-in theater.
Does not exist in the book, as far as I remember. No drive-in.
No drive-in theater. And they look in the trunk, and that's where the entire town is in cars, in trunks.
They're like sleeping in their trunks as vampires.
To keep out of the sun.
Which, I'm not gonna lie to you, I've been inside a trunk from a car from the 70s. You can see sunlight. You can see sunlight.
Yeah. You can.
So
but
they're definitely getting torched.
They don't. Also,
you can't
they don't have the pull thing to get out.
No,
and
so
they
you're
had to
stuck.
pull to get out of those damn things.
Oh yeah.
But all of a sudden, when it was time for the vampires to come, all the freaking trunks opened.
So, which means they must have used their vampire strength to blast them open, which means now they need to all get new cars because they've broken the locks. You have to get it's like Hulk in his pants. You got to replace it every day? Come on. Yeah, I'm with you. That was so dumb.
Yeah, I don't know why they did that, and I don't know why they put them in cars.
And there wasn't like a button to pop the trunk either. You had to unlock a trunk back
then. He actually had the keys to unlock it.
Yeah, and
had to unlock that first one to see that there was vampires in there.
It's like, oh, I finally got it unlocked. Yeah. Well, guess what? They're all unlocked.
Yeah. And then they end up using but the sun kills them immediately.
Right.
Which in the book it makes them, they don't like it.
Yeah,
and it gets them
but it doesn't kill
crispy.
them.
But yeah, because they end up having to pull them back or whatever. But it doesn't actually kill them. But
you got to stake them.
It immediately kills them in this freaking thing.
Gone.
Son. And they ended up taking that sign that they hit in the beginning that I was wondering why, and stabbing it through Barlow's
comes out his freaking mouth.
It was a slasher movie.
Yeah, it was.
Basically, slasher movie.
It's exactly what it was.
I was not scared of the freaking...
No, that's the thing. The vampire looked like spooky, I guess. Like as a kid, I might have been maybe afraid of it, but when you show something
he's
that
got the
much,
vampire deal. He's got the Nosferatu.
Yeah, but they just show him so much.
Right.
It's just like it makes it not scary.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially if he doesn't talk.
By the end, he starts looking like an albino scroll.
Yeah. It's like being at the strip club.
Eventually, it's just titties.
So many boobs.
And titties are just titties when there's just titties. Yeah, done with the titties. I've seen them all. So, movie versus book.
Movie versus book.
Now, we have talked about the book. We've said mid as far as Stephen King goes. We would not recommend it to other people. It's actually one of our least favorite King books we've both read. Movie. Now, if anyone ever wants spoilers to any of our podcasts, I have started using Letterboxd. You can find me. I gave this movie 1 star on there, which I've not done to a lot of things. Trap, I gave 1 star.
Oh, man.
And something I watched. And then the Mickey Mouse
Trap
slasher.
made me laugh. So
yeah.
bad.
Yes.
Man.
So, yes, agreed. But, and then the Mickey Mouse slasher.
Oh, did you watch it?
I gave it 0.5 star. I watched it today. It is the most atrocious thing ever. If you watch the Mickey Mouse movie, The Mouse Hunt or whatever it was called, I don't know. But just know that movie being made is inspiration to anyone who has ever wanted to make a movie. You can do it.
Yeah.
You can make something better than that. I guarantee it.
You're just trying to take advantage of it coming out of...
So that's the only movie I've watched recently that I liked less than Salem's Lot.
Okay. So we were going to give them rank them...
Yeah, I do want to rank
silver,
them based on silver, bronze, and gold. But that's
bronze, silver, and gold?
By how... BMs, right?
BMs.
Books, movies.
BMs.
BMs.
Yeah.
So we'll give each one a
golden BM would be... It's better than the movie, which you don't expect. Which
better
is
than the book.
Yes.
Movie's better is a gold BM.
Or at least...
equivalent, both great. Like,
yes.
Yeah. Now, a silver BM, pretty accurate, still pretty good. But, it has room for improvement. They maybe made some changes that we didn't like as much. It's not as good as the book. Book's still better.
Enjoyed
but
it.
It's still good.
Enjoyed it.
Still good. Now, a bronze BM.
I think I would like a bronze BM is getting up there, and I think a brown BM.
Yeah, let's just call it a brown BM.
Down at the bottom.
Yeah, this is the brown BM. So you get a silver, a gold, and then just a brown BM. A brown BM is one where the book's clearly better. You took a good book and you just shit all over it.
Maybe it's a bloody BM.
It could be a little bloody BM. We're gonna make it. No, we'll make it brown. The bloody BM is. Okay. We're gonna find a bloody BM. I guarantee you. Vin Diesel's made a lot of comic book movies. That'll be the ones that are worse than brown. The ones that are just an assault on the anus. But I would say a brown BM is something like this, where the movie changed a lot of things.
Yeah.
Shit on a book that was definitely better than the movie. Still not great, but better than the movie. I think this gets a brown BM.
I'm brown BM and all the way.
Yeah,
brown BM.
This movie is a brown BM,
and I'm gonna give the book. It's in between a brown BM and a silver BM.
I think I'm gonna give the whole thing a brown BM. I did actually kind of like the book, but I still think overall brown BM for me.
It's a brown BM.
I think this is a brown. Salem's Lot is a brown BM. Well, you know what? I'd say for our first book versus movie, this is pretty successful, actually.
Yeah, we did it.
I'm glad
that you don't have to.
Oh yes, please. If
watch that movie.
If you plan on watching Salem's Lot, don't. If you plan on reading Salem's Lot, go ahead. I mean, it's your plans. I'm not going to tell you not to, and let us know what you thought. And maybe you loved these things. Let us know if you did.
Tell us. Give us.
Do you think it should have been a gold
Get in
BM?
those comments.
Should it be a gold BM? Should Trump be flushing this BM with the documents down his golden toilet? Let us know.
Should the book got better than what we gave?
Yeah, I mean, did you love the book? Did you love the old movie? What book and movie do you want to see us do? What's the one?
Put some.
What are we gonna do next?
Oh yeah, we're doing one next. So guys, this is
if you want to follow along.
Club.
This is our book club, book versus movie club,
book versus movie fight club. If you want to get it, follow along for our next one. We're gonna do. We're doing Wicked. Wicked, which comes out in not too long.
Yeah,
actually.
I need to get to reading. Wicked's coming. We've
Wicked.
got Cynthia Ervino or whatever, and Ariana Grande, classic musical.
Yeah, I started reading the book already.
Oh yeah,
and I can tell you, woo.
And so this is a prequel to the Wizard of Oz, but not the Wizard of Oz movie. It's a prequel to the Wizard of Oz book, and even the movie I think is.
You don't
know if that's true?
I know. After starting the book, it
maybe
seems like it's
got a little bit of both.
A prequel. It's like it might be like it was written to be a prequel of that. And then I think what happened is they made I think it was a prequel of the movie and the book. Tried to blend the movie in with it because they have
Dr. Sleep movie.
Yeah,
thing.
Because I think I won't go over it.
Yeah, totally. But
we'll get because then they made that into into the musical, and now they're making the movie. I think the movie's based probably off the musical.
Yes.
Than it is more the book. But
yeah, I think so. But we're gonna find out.
Yep.
And we're gonna watch it.
Yes.
So let's get wicked on the next book versus movie Fight Club.
If you've been looking to freaking get into books and read, freaking
this
get that
fun
wicked.
way. I mean, this is a fun way to do it too, because they're making movies of good books, or at least brown books.
Yeah. And we'll take it, again.
And we'll take your suggestions. We'll do old ones. We'll do new ones. Let's go. Book vs. Movie Fight Club. I am your Snake Daddy and your Shit Poster Supreme, Matt Keck. Alongside me is the light of my life,
Paul. Getting ready to read a new book, Shields.
All right, and we're going to go burn down Salem's Lot.
Woo!
See you later, alligator.